Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Talking Horses. Big A Anthony Stabile, Andy Serling, joining you for a 10-race card here at the Big A. You're excited. I got that good morning like right away.
You hit it
That's like
perfect.
the first thing I thought about when I got up this morning.
Perfect, my friend. Congratulations.
Could be the last one, for a while at least.
Johnny, I know we're talking about that a little while ago.
Well, the clocks go ahead tomorrow.
Tonight.
So tonight. It's annoying. Lose
2
an
to
hour.
3.
Lose an hour.
Doesn't matter.
Matters to me.
You get it back and say, you know what? I'll give you now. I'll give it back to you in 7 months. Come on.
I'm good. I like the fact that it stays light longer. So that'll be staying late.
Sunset tomorrow is 7:02.
I know we got a show tomorrow until 6:30. I'll be leaving here.
You'll
The
have
subway.
perfect sunlight. It'll be beautiful.
I don't want to say perfect sunlight.
You'll have perfect sunlight. 7:02. You'll have
Are you
plenty
sure
of
it's going to
sunlight
be
here.
sunny out?
I used to. I've done my call-in show
Some
from here
scary
till 7
stuff
o'clock
going on in the studio, I'll tell you.
It's the panel is not. I mean, it's the Brady Bunch. It's not. I can tell you that. It's Brady Bunch-esque. I don't know. But
Got a lot to talk about, so we'll get right to work. Naira Bets, heading over, nairabets.com. If you are not a member, use the promo code MATCH200. Claude's already had enough. He's leaving. We match 200. We will match him for $200 your initial deposit. Keep the money in the game. Well, I envy him.
Can we get risk-taking on here, please?
No. I sent your list along. I want you to know. Anyhow, the cross-country pick 5, by the way. All of these races will be shown in America's Day at Races. We'll get to that in just a moment. Oaklawn 7th, the Essex. Aqueduct's 8th and 9th, interspersed between the 8th and Allowance at Oaklawn, and the 9th, the 1.5-mile Temperance Hill.
That's a doozy.
Yeah, that is a doozy. I agree. Well, he's got a big field. I'm just not sure he's going to win. It's funny, there's 3 horses coming back that ran at Keeneland on that Breeders' Cup card. They were the 3 horses involved in the incident. It's actually kind of amazing. And I think all of them had races since then. America's Day at the Races, by the way, follow this one. 2 to 3 at FS1, 3 to 6 on FS2. The Rebel is 6:15, so we're going to show that on the Naira YouTube channel, as well as Naira Bets and the Fox app, I believe, also.
Yep.
6 to 6:30, so we'll extend that. The crew will be in. And I think we had one more thing. Did we have one more thing, Francisco? I thought there was a 4th.
I don't know. We already did that. I can tell you guys about the Derby Bankroll Builder. If you bet $50.
Oh yeah, we have a slate for the Derby Bankroll Builder, Francisco.
$50 to win or more on a horse in the Rebel today down at Oaklawn.
Get $20 towards your Derby Bankroll.
It'll be back. It'll be in your account
Friday,
on Thursday, April 29th, in time for Oaks Day.
There you go.
That's okay. We got it here. We got you covered, Francisco.
Well, good we don't have a slate for the Derby Bankroll. Okay.
5 consecutive weeks.
The good news is one person here actually knows them. Nobody sent them to me, so I didn't know about it. But thank you.
Louisiana Derby, Florida Derby, Wood Memorial, Arkansas Derby for the next consecutive 4 weeks. $20. You could bet at least 50 to win. 20. You could have $100 in your account for Oaks Day.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Are you going to be this sharp tomorrow with the extra hour sleep? I'm just checking.
My mom's favorite day of the year. She loves the extra sunlight. And Christine claims that her and her animals get all screwed up by this. The dog wakes up early, they go out.
There's something with the trains with Amtrak where they stop the trains. Is it when they go back?
I think when they go back, because when you add the hour, everything gets kind of thrown off kilter a little bit. I don't think it's now.
You ever take the overnight trains?
No.
Too many? I've taken a few in my day.
No.
Took one back from Boston recently.
I drive overnight. Overnight driving is the best. If you're a night owl, overnight driving is the way to go.
Race number 1. It's important to note that we seem to, unfortunately, have been back to the gold rail yesterday here, enhancing performances, and the Beyer speed figures back it up in a lot of ways. And last weekend the track was perfectly fair. I don't understand why this keeps happening. It's an unfortunate situation. I mean, hopefully it will be back to even today. I always start the day hoping the track is even and letting the chips fall as they may, but you've got to think about it. As we take a look at the favorite in the first race, BC Glory Days, a horse I'm trying to beat, but is the horse to beat whether I'm trying to beat him or not. If the track is like yesterday, he's probably 1 to 9 to win this race. But I got to tell you something. As game as he was first time, I didn't like his second race.
Well, his second race...
Supposed to beat those horses, Anthony.
I'll tell you what, he didn't run anywhere as good. He didn't run nearly as good as his first race.
It wasn't a fast pace like the first time.
No, it was not.
Was the rail good? Of course it was. But did that cost him coming off? And was he probably best here? So what? He's still got a 60 Beyer.
Oh, you see, I think the winner was best because the winner kind of got bottled up the whole. I know as well as as good of a trip as he sat, saving all the ground. He did get into some trouble on the turn.
We'll agree to disagree. Completely.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if this track is the same way, this horse is going to be very, very tough today. And you know, his 2 races have come in the mud, so he's going to try a fast track for the first time. But quite honestly, if he runs back to his debut, that debut is just better than anything else anybody's put forth in here, unless one of the firsters can fire.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you. The race we'll look at 2 back for Our Whirlwind Ride, when he was basically running on close to a fast track as opposed to a sloppy sealed track last time, is actually better, or at least equivalent to those races. This is a horse that was never near the rail, not that the track wasn't fair that day, but he was never near the inside, and he ran very, very well. I mean, there are some people that think that the horse who beat him in here has a chance in the stake race today. I'm not one of them, but there are people.
David Runyon tomorrow. Yep.
I'm sorry, David Runyon. And I know that the Reggae Music Man, who finished 3rd, came back in a gold rail, but he did win his next start easily, and he was 5 lengths behind this horse. And then last time, against the gold rail, he was 3, 4, 5 wide. And he gets a significant rider change to Pablo Morales today.
Gets Lasix.
So how do you not have this horse in? You don't like him. You don't have this horse in your top 4.
I don't know if I buy the race 2 back.
Why? What did he not do in that race?
Well, I mean, I guess, like you said, it was
Well, he was
going to
win 3 back.
He was going to win 3 back.
And he threw his rider. And then he ran that race, and last time he was nowhere in the picture with a wide trip. And I'm sorry, that was not a gold rail. Excuse me, that was a fairer track. But he was out in the middle of the racetrack, and he was nowhere. He was dead last early. How was this horse dead last early? And now he gets a significant rider change. This is whether he wins or not. On a fair racetrack, this horse is a major, major player in here, and frankly, not particularly less likely to win than the favorite. And he's going to be a better price. Favorite to win at the tracks like yesterday, but this horse can beat him.
Okay.
Otherwise, I mean, you're guessing with. I mean, you've got 42 A's second. How can he possibly beat the 4, unless the 4 just completely fails to show up? He's got 100 chances.
Well, he was against the inside last time when he was 3 wide, and then the race. Okay. I think the race 3 back behind excellent timing. I mean, I know he got beat a while, but I mean,
what about his other races?
Well, you take out the race 2 back. You take out the race against.
This is not your kind. This horse has run 7 times and had his share of chances and been relatively short in all of them. He was against the track last time, I agree, but...
I don't know. I felt like if the favorite didn't hold up, I thought this horse made some sense. And I was told that St. Selby can run a little bit.
Okay, well, every Rob Atras horse is running off the screen right now, which is worth noting. Race number 2 is not one of my favorite races on the card. You and I end up taking the same horse, Miss Charisma. We'll show her race last time. You can go ahead.
I mean,
I have very little to say about this.
Yeah, I have very little to say as well. If she runs back to this race, if she runs back to the race at Finger Lakes 4 back, the race at Laurel 3 back, I mean, she's just going to beat these horses. 2 starts back, she ran into Invaluable and Serenic. Invaluable's come back to win since then. Serenic's come back to, she ran a clunker, but then she came back to win. And I know these horses are being helped by the racetrack lately, but they're still just light years better than anything she's facing in here today, Andy. Well, I mean, she has Love Me Tomorrow and Charlotte Webley to put a little pace on for her. I mean, she's just supposed to get to get a good setup.
She's not getting any pace in here. You're going to. Every show you're going to point out.
No, I'm not saying they're going to do it, but I'm saying with those 2 horses in the race, at the very least, there's confirmed speed in the race.
Sure there is. There never is. But anyway, Let Me Tomorrow, are you at all worried she could wire the field if we have yesterday's racetrack? She was abysmal last time.
She was not
absolutely abysmal.
And she's coming back in just a week, so off that race.
But she's potentially the inside speed. What if the 8 gets loose?
She could be. She could be.
Because only one of them is going to be in front here, and the other one will be strangled back. I'm going to guess that Pablo will be more aggressive. We'll see. I don't know. It's hard to know.
Yeah, it's hard to know.
But there's never going to be a duel here because there never is. So that concerns me.
And I also, I'll tell you this too, with the bottom level claiming horses, and I know how strong the bias has been, but with these bottom level claiming horses and horses that have confirmed that they want to cough up leads, especially the speeds, I think a horse like Miss Charisma, who's supposed to just ride the rail, and if things stay the way they've been, she's supposed to get
the way they were yesterday.
The way they were yesterday. She's supposed to get the right setup in here with 2 horses in front of her that just don't like to win.
This is actually a race that figures to have a very moderate pace, if anything, that'll help speed. So I am concerned. See, I have a completely opposite view of you. I'm concerned that the race will not set up in a positive manner for her. And I thought Hara would be closer to the pace. Hara scratched yesterday to run here. And the other horse I would probably use here would be Hara. I mean, I have to, use backup somewhere with the 4 and 8, because if one of them gets loose and we have yesterday's track, that horse may well win this race. They're both very faint-hearted horses, though. I think that's what helps the one. There's not going to be any pace, but the horses that are forward in here, Love Me Tomorrow and Charlotte Webley, they seem to quit regardless of circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, they just don't like to hold leads.
But isn't Hara kind of your will inherit the lead type horse? I don't particularly agree with this way of thinking, but that's something you believe in more than I do. And she's going to be much more forward, I would think. Much more forward than Miss Charisma.
She could be.
She should be.
You know who could be? Vitanza could be a little more forward too.
She could.
Just using the inside to her advantage.
I agree. The
she
problem
could
is
be.
she's Vitanza.
Right. And I think ultimately, when you look at Miss Charisma and you look at the rest, Vitanza 0 for 18, Love Me Tomorrow 0 for 17. I think there's a little bit more trust because she just hasn't failed as often as the rest of them have.
Trust is not a word that I would use to describe a single horse in this race.
Okay.
I mean, I just wouldn't.
I mean, you look at her you look at her one wet track race in Saratoga, where she didn't even run that badly. I mean, the rest of her races.
We can move on. Race number 3. You've got a couple of Chad Browns. One that a filly that faced the boys in her first start and lost no trouble, who's just better than her, and Back Channel. Now we'll go back to Back Channel's race in Saratoga, 3 back. If this Back Channel, and she was purchased out of the Paul Pompa dispersal. I have no idea what she sold for. Do you know?
No, I don't.
She runs this race, she's going to win. And then she ran a Starfront. I don't think Starfront's ever run back.
I have not seen
Starfront.
Starfront
Judd Munn,
back.
Chad Brown firster that was very impressive. Now, last time out, she was despicable. She was also 4 wide against a gold rail in her last race as an excuse. She's kind of supposed to win. Oh, by the way, she sold for $110,000.
Imagine how much more money she would have sold for if she didn't have the last race.
180.
It's a lot of money. It's almost twice. It's a lot of money, my friend.
Well, they made 40%. Up for it with that horse
They sure did.
that they'll be running in claiming races eventually, Carrillo, that sold for $875,000.
They should. They sure did.
Yeah.
Turned Aside didn't run that well either.
7.25 for him. And
For
by the way,
like
I may be Turned Aside, as you know, biggest fan out there. And if somebody asked me to pay 7.25,
I feel like I've never had I feel like that whole division last year, you and I made every right decision in that division. If that horse owes me no money, could you imagine paying that money for that horse?
No, and a turf sprinter, it seemed crazy. I don't trust her. She's the horse to beat. Absolutely. I was going to put her on top. She's going to be a wildly short price, just center the lead. She's supposed to wire this field. I want to give Aunt Cat one more chance in here. As I said from the start with Aunt Cat, and, listen, maybe I'm wrong about this because Bill Mott has consciously run this horse in 2 route races in her first 2 starts.
Both times you
but Carolyn's Cat, the dam, was a very nice sprinter for Kieran. And I just never understood why she wanted to go long. And then they tried the boys last time, and she at least showed speed. There was obviously a big tip on her. She took a lot of money last time. And it's not as though she ran that badly, frankly, last time at 1 mile and 1/8. I love her turning back, and how can I not take her at a big price? And the other thing with Back Channel is she'll probably win. Wide or not, her last race had a bit of an odor. Because the other thing was, she should have been much more forward in there. And
she didn't run 2 steps last time.
I know she was wide, and she has a legit excuse in that sense, but she couldn't even get near the lead, and that concerns me. And listen, obviously we have the world of respect for Chad Brown, the people that work with him, but it's not like she was trained by some boob. I mean, Linda Rice is a terrific trainer, and so you have to be a little bit worried about that. And I just have to pick Aunt Cat, because I can't say what I said from day one and then not pick her here, because then I'm just a complete imbecile if she should win the race and pay $14 or $15, right?
Yeah, 30 cents to the dollar.
A bigger imbecile than I already am.
30 cents to the dollar on Back Channel last time, and like you said, maybe she hasn't. She didn't run. She did not.
Rapido Gatto beat her.
She did not run 2 steps.
Right. You know what horse is not totally ridiculous to get a piece here? Is Venus Oizo.
I knew you were going to say that.
Why is this horse running the turf? This was last dirt race. She was outside against a good rail. Wasn't that bad. And if you're ready to take 3 or 4 to 5 on Back Channel, how do you not use Venus Oizo somewhere in your tries or supers at a huge price?
If you're playing the race
not
vertically.
A likely winner.
If you're playing the race vertically, you must use a horse like that who's going to be 5 times the price.
5
Should
times.
beat it 3 lengths.
Should be 20 times the price.
Right. Make a great point.
Thank you. Race number 4. I looked long and hard. I don't like to take even monies on the morning line. I know you're going to pick Scarf It Down every time he runs.
No, I don't think
occasionally
every time he runs. This is an in day. The way his form's been holding up, this is his in day.
And he still doesn't win the in days. To me, Heavy Roller lays over this field by so much that it's almost laughable. I don't particularly trust this horse, but he was off the rail last time out, 3 to 4 wide. This horse had legit excuse. He was bumped at the start and taken out of the race. He is so much better than these horses. If he shows up, he will win.
I don't
Now,
disagree.
he doesn't have to. I'm not going to knock somebody for betting against him, but I'm not betting against him.
He hasn't won in 14 months. It was the only. It's really his only not. When you look at him, it's really the only thing you could hold against him in here because he's just supposed to beat these horses. I couldn't take him with the short
His
price.
last race will crush
His
this.
last race would annihilate these horses.
Now, I will say one thing that's important. I think that figure is close to the low 70s. It's closer to 72.
Whatever it is,
We're seeing horses not run back to their number from that race. So even if it's a 72,
if you split and Andy, if you split the difference, let's say you're half right
No.
at 75. I mean, he's gonna. But listen, Scarf It Down has run kind of in and out the last 3 or 4 starts. Today's supposed to be an in day. He's going to be a decent price. Heavy Roller's supposed to win the race. I couldn't take him at 4 to 5.
I get it. Believe me, I originally didn't want to. When are we getting those bobbleheads? We need a whole
I'm going to
host
talk
of
to my
those.
man Kenny. He
Yeah,
takes
I
all
want
those.
a big box full of those.
Well,
I
there's
will
no easy
trade.
can.
I will trade a Chris Sale unopened bobblehead box. If you have any big Red Sox fans, that could be a real collector's item. You know, it's like the guys who keep like the figures. Do you want to watch The Big Bang Theory? Do you?
No.
Best show on TV.
I'm a
Not
mom.
on
I told you I like to watch Mom.
You got to watch Big Bang Theory. You would love Big Bang Theory. My long shot at the track is fair as Hero's Hope.
Okay.
I just think this horse has some ability somewhere. Last time on a sloppy sealed track, gets a rider switched back to Benji Hernandez. I think this horse has races that give him a chance to get a piece. Because honestly, I looked at this field. I mean, the only thing I would say about this race, let me just have a caveat. We can't bet him. We bet him last time was a weaker field. If you have yesterday's racetrack, I think you have to have mind the coin
Absolutely.
on your ticket somewhere. And it's a problem in the pick 5. You somewhere have to use it defensively. Even with everything his own way, he didn't run a particularly fast figure last time. But he's the controlling speed and potentially the controlling inside speed. So the bias could help him. I still don't know if he's good enough.
Bias could help. The blinkers seemed to wake him up last time and give him a little more speed. Yeah. He's the kind of horse where it's weird. You're obviously not going to get a look at this track when the pick 5 starts. That's the problem. If you're playing horizontally, you got to use him a little protectively because, like you said, if the track is that way, he is going to be the controlling speed again, like he was last time, and he got the job done.
Right. David Aragona brought up an interesting point to me yesterday, and I think he's right the more I thought about it. Some of these bias days, the bias got stronger as the day progressed. So I'm not even sure you find out from the first race. We'll see. Race number 5. We'll take a break after race number 5. I know Shamrock is the inside speed, and obviously you have to use him defensively. He was on the rail for almost the whole race before drifting the stretch last time. I know Ray claimed him back. I just don't trust this horse.
There was a horse in hindsight that was probably helped the most by the rail.
It was Freudian slip.
Right, what I'm saying is a horse that won. It was probably those two. Shamrock and Freudian slip, right? Because Shamrock might have
been the horse we just talked about in the last race. There were a lot of horses that were helped
from the
most
8th
by the
pole
rail.
home. I mean, Shamrock looked like he's going to get.
But he was off the rail.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, to me, he did not finish up there. Now you can say it was off the rail. I mean, I just think the whole race he was just helped by being inside the whole way, and he survived.
I don't disagree. He was
know?
not the whole way, but the majority of the race. I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
I'm not. We'll look at Fox Red last time. The problem with Fox Red, and he ran very well last time, though he was on the rail. The horse he dueled with first time Ferruti came back and ran 100 Beyer. He's pointing, I think, Carter, Forgo, and Breeders' Cup Sprint after his performance last week. That Ryan horse, what's his name?
Ryan's Cat.
Ryan's Cat. But he was on the gold rail, this horse, so he was helped by the track. He drifted in the stretch. Ran a big race. The problem was you and I bet him last time at 7-2, and he's going to be shorter today.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of that. We did bet him last time. He got beat. One of the horses that beat him did come up the inside to get him that day.
He ran great.
Yeah.
We should have cashed the bet last time. So Rudy drops him off that race.
Well, he claimed him for 12.5, and yes, I dropped. But again, the purses are so lucrative, and if he loses them, right, the pot's $39,000 for a 16 claimer.
He ran pretty well.
Yeah.
I don't love the drop, but I hear you. I think these drops are more than just the purses or so. And we see that over time that
but this isn't that significant.
It isn't that significant.
Because he claimed the horse for 12.5.
I agree. It's not that significant. But he still ran that race against better horses. And I want horses that run good races that move up. I don't want the ones that run good races and drop, especially at short prices. And I think he's going to be favored over Shamrock Kid.
Over Shamrock?
Yeah.
He probably will be.
I could be wrong, but I think he will be.
He probably will be. One horse is moving up, one horse is dropping down.
I just don't see it. And he ran a better figure.
He ran a better figure, and he ran a better race.
It's not like he's slow.
He ran a better race last time.
Right, I agree with all that. So meanwhile, I'm just going to take Rob Atras. Sorry, Rob's horses are running off the screen. And not everyone, but a lot of them. 96 buyer. I know he's on the rail yesterday. 96 buyer, please. Take a look at the stat for Storm Advisory. And I'll tell you something about this stat. I like to know the stat when his horses are live, because Rob's one of these guys. He gets super live, doesn't always, like a lot of trainers, get live wins in spurts. He's winning at 30%, positive ROI. I got to take a shot with this horse. And I'll tell you something about this horse. This is a horse that at one time ran good races. Now, he's never done it in New York. I will not disagree with that. But last time out, he was chasing wide. And the other thing is, they claimed this horse 6 weeks ago, and they move him up. See, that I like. They didn't run this horse back for 10.
They kept him in jail, but they still moved him up.
They didn't run him for 10, right. They could have run him in spots for 10. I like that. Okay. And he's not going to be the first or second choice. We don't think, though you never know the money they're going to take. A funny horse, I'll give you one more horse I wanted to mention here. I know you're right, by the way, about Batter Swing. He was wide last time, but he was also wide because stalking a pace that collapsed. But he was reasonably close to it. He ran okay last time.
He ran okay last. He was close to a fast enough pace. Yeah, if you don't trust Shamrock, you don't trust Fox Red. He's going to be the inheritor today, and he's going to be the best price of some of the horses.
Maybe he's the inheritor. I don't know, but in theory he is.
Right.
Brush County. That's a very interesting claim by Bruce Brown. I'm going to use this horse. He's got some races intermittently that are fast enough to compete. I just think this is an interesting claim by Bruce Brown, and a horse you could use. I don't think he's a likely winning type, but I think he can get a piece of this race. Now we're at his odds.
He's an interesting horse because a year and a half ago, he was running races that would make him the horse to beat in here. And now I guess you're just hoping that you can claim. He's relatively young for a claimer. He's just turned 5. You're hoping that you can claim a horse like this and kind of a little bit of a reclamation project. Yeah, sure. He's going to be a big price too. There's too many horses in here. They got to bet Shamrock.
As Maggie pointed out about him, it's a reclaim for the owner, for whatever it's worth.
Okay.
I wish there were stats for reclaims. Anyway, that's the first 5. That race also kicks off the Empire 6, a mandatory payout every day. Late pick 5 after a quick break.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. Big A Anthony Stabile joining me. Race number 6, we'll take a look at Devious Mo finishing 4th last time, chasing outside in this race. I'm trying to remember the February 6th. I think the rail was very good on no. I think this was more of a fair track. It's a fair track. Mr. Fantasy came back and won and improved his figure dramatically, but he also did it on a gold rail. He's running back tomorrow. I don't know. These horses are so much better here. I don't love the drop to a quarter. I know Mike Rapoli doesn't mind dropping his horses more than he should. This horse lays over this field by so much. It's just ridiculous.
I mean, that pace was so hot for that level.
I agree.
mean, they were going, and he got tired late. But honestly, did he run that badly? And like you said, he was running against killers compared to this field today.
Yeah, this horse lays over these horses. This drop.
This is a 40 to 25 where this is
it's like a maiden special to a 10.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, the only other horse you kind of want to use is Bustin' Bieber switching to Wayne Potts, whose first 2 races were pretty atrocious, but at least they were against real horses, so he gets back to the dirt. So maybe you want to use him as a fuzzy, but other than that, I mean, I know Royal Kaz is the inside speed, man. He's going to need some bias to beat Devious Mo, and
he got beat a pole by Brunate last time.
I know. How do you take him?
It's so hard to.
And you and I have him third.
Yeah, there's right. Rounded out with the first because the other horses that have run in this race. I mean, a lead on the outside is going to take some money, I guess.
He was on the gold rail 2 back, and that figure's
and
completely dressed up. We'll move on to race number 7. Race number 7 is a very funny race. Let me ask you a question.
Ask me a
We'll
question,
show Scorpion
Andy.
Dynasty's last race. He's pretty quick. You would think that Posse Disco is supposed to go, though. He has no other way but to go. And you know Trevor's going to go with Scorpion Dynasty because he knows that's the way this horse wants to run. And yes, he took advantage of the racetrack last time. I think the track was a little bit fairer, but the rail is very much a rail race. And this is one of those races that goes to David's argument. The rail got better as the day went on.
Right.
But the problem with this horse is you feel like he was carried by the racetrack, and he's got the one figure that sticks out like a sore thumb. And these are the kind of things you see on biased racetracks, even though I'm not certain that track was as biased as some other ones, but I'm starting to believe it was, at least late in the day. He's the speed, but they're supposed to be moving at least a little bit in here. They never are, but they're supposed to be a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Posse Disco can't let him out of his sights, right? I mean,
I don't know.
That's
It's
what Posse
Naira.
Disco does.
It's Naira. One goes and one rates. I don't know. I'm sorry, Anthony, but I just watched too many races with 2 speeds that have to go and 1 rates. Sometimes they're nowhere near the thing.
I mean, he's got to kind of follow him in, doesn't he? I mean, that's the other thing too. If the inside's still good, he's got to follow him in. He can't not chase and go and get caught 4 wide. He's got to try and be, in the 2-path, and he just got to follow the other speed in if that's the plan. Now, I'm not convinced Posse Disco's not faster than Scorpion Dynasty, but Scorpion Dynasty's not going to let Posse Disco go and give up the inside position on the other speed.
He's pretty quick.
Yeah, so
he's pretty quick.
I know.
Linda had to scratch Ward in the North. She had to get a daily scratch.
That's not the first time. I think this is like the second or third time he came out.
Scratch. I'm very surprised you don't have the 3 horse that you liked in an impossible spot 2 back when he actually ran pretty well. And then last time out, I don't know, he chased wide. It was a fair track, but those horses are so much better than these. I don't love Tiz Kaz now. I just think he found a field he's supposed to beat.
Yeah, he probably supposed to. I thought it was, I wanted to lean on 3s and 4s in here.
I scratched in the 4 second. I don't like this horse. He's 1 for 14. He's had so many chances. I know he hasn't been a super short price in any of them, really. I don't know. I guess he's the other horse.
I mean, isn't he supposed to get? I mean, even you would have to admit. We've talked about. He's supposed to get some pace today.
I don't believe in that stuff. I don't believe in it.
I liked his race last time.
Really? Losing to David's Gem?
Yeah, I liked his race.
Blue City?
It was a fast race. I mean, it was the time came back. It was a fast race for this horse. I mean, this horse is one of the best races this horse ever ran.
I just think Tiz Kaz now, if he can run it all, is going to beat these
He
horses.
probably will.
Gets Manny Franco.
He probably will.
I just think he's supposed to win.
Yeah. I mean, he's another one. He's run against proverbial killers compared to.
Well, he runs his race 2 back. He's going to be very tough. Obviously, last time he didn't run well, but was a much, much better field. Race number 8. Let me ask you a question about race number 8.
You keep telling me
who's going to be favored? Big Engine, who we'll look at getting the worst ride of the year so far here, or Secret Rules? I don't know how Big Engine in a 4-horse field as a rail runner breaking from an inside post ended up 3 wide the whole way. But this took a Herculean effort to get this horse beaten. And had he just stayed inside and gotten the trip, the horse who broke on the outside, ended up getting
the winner.
He probably would have won by 2 or 3 lengths. It's a big rail day, and the winner rode the rail to the whole way. I've always been a Big Engine fan. I think he belongs in here, and I just think he's going to be tough to beat. But I respect the other one. The other one's a slight favorite in the line. David's probably right. Wow, you don't have Big Engine second.
I am 3rd.
How is Running with Scissors going to finish ahead of him? On what planet? On what planet? He beat O Trouble and Godzilla last time.
Listen, I like the informed horses. This horse is in for this horse is. He's come down here this winter, and this horse
He's
is
good
just
form. He's
run.
never run against a field that's even in the same
No, he
vicinity
hasn't.
of the horse
No,
field
he
he's
hasn't.
running in here.
No,
well, he did 2 back, and he got beaten 7 lengths.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. But he's going to be a price, and I want to try and split the chalks here. I want to play this race because I think running with scissors could get into the gimmick.
It's not getting the exact unless one of them completely fails to show up. I suppose it's possible. We'll look at Secret Rules last race and Celtic Chaos. And I think Celtic Chaos looks like he ran better than he did. All he did was suck up along a gold rail. He really didn't do any running at all. It was a very good ride by Trevor. Secret Rules ran well. There's no doubt. He was too wide, then he got to the rail, and then he drifted a little bit in the stretch. He ran well. The problem, and he's run well, the problem I have with him is I'm starting to get tired of him finishing second.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think the key with him is going to be that I think he's finally found a field that he can clear, and he's.
I agree.
Isn't
someone supposed to go with running with scissors?
Yeah, but
so he can get in there if he gets the rail.
I guess I think Secret Rules is faster than him, and I think,
I do too.
And
but
I think
depends how they're ridden.
I think now after this horse's last handful of starts, Secret Rules, it's become pretty apparent to me that his absolute best chance is to get in front. And I think he has the speed in here to clear. And I think you have to here, at this point, draw the line in the sand and say, okay, we're getting to the top at all costs in here. Whatever happens after that, let's lose with our best weapon. I think this horse will get to the front.
I would agree with that. I would agree. I would agree. I'd put him on a dead send and
dead send, clear, get over, and let the chips fall
okay
within after
with
that.
tack scratching at Oakland? You okay?
I'm a
I'm
big Silver State fan.
I'm not sure what to make of him.
I'm a big fan of him.
I'm not sure what. About Harper's first ride. Thought he was
I don't know if
dangerous
Silver
in the
State
year
wants
one.
more ground or if he wants to go
We're
back to
talking about a
sprinting.
race that will be shown
The
at
Essex.
America's Day at the Races, the Essex. Tack scratched. I hope he's okay. I think there are other interesting horses to talk about here. First of all, I think we should talk about Mios, which you have nowhere in there. He's running first time for a tag. I'll tell you something about Mios. He draws well on the rail. You know Trevor's never leaving the rail, and if we have a biased track, he's never leaving it. If we have a fair track, he'll ride him accordingly. He's an in-and-outer. Anthony, he's got races that make him a major contender in here.
I know he does. I've had enough.
I get it, but I'm going to tell you right now, I think he's going to get a piece. See, I think he's much more likely to get a piece than running with scissors. And I think running with scissors has been very good this winter. I just don't think he belongs in here.
One?
Okay, you won one yesterday.
Yeah.
You did, yeah.
So 63?
63.
Yeah, let's do one. Let's do one for this.
1 over 7.
Yep.
I got another one.
Okay.
What's wrong with the 4? The 4's a funny horse. The 4 was sold by the West's 2-back, and he ran terribly off of that. He did chase Mad Monies. What do you think of him cutting back? He's got some fast races. Lost the last Judgment. It was pretty good. I'm just...
Yeah, last Judgment came back to win the Challenger at...
Yeah, he won. No, he won. He won the Challenger last week?
He won the Challenger last week.
Was it 4 or 5 horses?
5. He beat Modernist.
Ooh. You all right with that?
I made him my Naira Bet's
Did you
best.
cry?
I made him. No, I made Last Judgment my Naira Bet's best bet. I didn't think he could lose. He was 9-2 on the morning line. He paid $4.60.
Well, there's some. They had.
But that's
my favorite morning line was
War
the horse.
Stopper was the favorite on the morning line. He did. He wound up going off like 6-5.
My favorite morning line was that good horse Micheline that I like being 8-1 morning line. That was my favorite morning line. Where they had Chaz horse favored over the horse from Europe. We're done. I like this race. I think the 2 and 8 are the horse to beat.
Fun race.
I think there's some other horses here
Because
that can run a little bit.
Mios could always show up.
Mios can show up and run.
Big Engine can win. Secret Rules can win. Running with Scissors is in form. Talk about Rob Actress getting Musical America back. This horse only has one sprint, a handful of sprints on the card, rather, but they were for different connections.
Rob is not good off layoffs.
Okay.
Disappointing. He's 1 for 11, 6 months and longer, 29-cent ROI.
Yeah, this is probably a jumping off point where you're setting this horse up for Belmont
Short
races.
to run longer.
Yeah, short to run long.
But you're not wrong. The horse has plenty of races fast enough.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. No. To be fair, you're absolutely right. So race number 9. Muse's connections. Richard Mandela's last, Dave Grenick had this. His last Aqueduct starter was 2002. Might have been what's a horse I'd never heard of, I think.
Wow.
Who's his last starter at Naira? I'll give you a hint. it's a name that you should know from doing your weekend stakes preview presented by Naira Bets. I'm giving you a hint.
My knee jerk was going to be Beholder.
Well, they're running the Beholder Mile today, so it's, yes, she ran in
When
2014.
She
ran it when she ran in
closed
the
hatches. She
Phipps.
got beat by
Yeah,
right. She
ran
got
the
beat by
Phipps.
closed hatches in Princess of Soma.
Yeah, right.
That's the
What was that
last
Kieran horse that ran third? She won the
Antipathy.
Shoe and she disappeared, I think,
Antipathy.
right? Yeah.
And then Bel Galante won the Delaware race, beat Princess of Soma,
Yeah, right.
1680.
It's a funny year. Yes, correct. That's his last starter in New York.
Wow.
You know
I
what
was
horse he
thinking
ran?
about
I
that
think
yesterday.
did you maybe run the Met Mile? Was Crafty CT somewhere in there? I was like Crafty CT.
Crafty seat. That was. You know
That was
how much-
Mandela, right?
Yeah, but you know how much longer?
Oh, yeah, that was
forget
10
about
years
it.
earlier.
At least.
Was that 05 somewhere in
Yeah,
there?
maybe a little longer.
So apparently the story with this horse is she's going to be bred after this race. They're
That's
trying
right.
to get black type with her.
That's what I assumed
We'll take a
last
look
night.
at Amuse's last race, or not race, two back, when she finished second. She's way the horse to beat. I don't deny it. But I feel as though there's going to be this West Coast mystique to her, and running in some of those stake races, she's okay. She's probably better than these horses. She's the horse to beat. How good is she really?
I bet her 2 starts back. I bet her last time.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, she was a huge price last time. She didn't run. They're coming in with the California Stakes face, and they take the money. She can win this race. I couldn't. That was everything all right over there?
That was a little scary.
It was like a tilt-a-whirl thing over there.
That going on was
Yeah,
scary.
I couldn't.
Suddenly it goes down easily after lunch.
Yeah.
So they pulled it
Oh, the
up.
chair went down? That's fantastic. I couldn't take her off the last 2 efforts because 2 starts back especially. I thought she was chicken dinner off the trip. She's at 2 starts back. She didn't get
That's
there.
the thing.
Last time she didn't run really. I mean,
She was 14-1.
Yeah, but she didn't run. You and I bet plenty of 14-1 shots that run and get beat. She didn't run. She ran 2 steps last time, and I figured that out.
She hasn't won a race in
She's only-
in 27 months.
She's 6 years old and she's making her 13th
She
start.
hasn't.
And I figured it out last night. I said, they're probably bringing her here, trying to get her a stakes win,
They
send
are.
her to
They're
go.
breeding
Right.
her,
I didn't know that.
Publicized.
I hadn't read anything about that. I figured they'd send her out here and then send her off to Kentucky.
How worried are we especially with the 5 scratching, that Sadie Lady wires the field? Especially if you have yesterday's track, you have to use Sadie
You have to
Lady.
use Sadie Lady. If you have yesterday's
She ran
track-
last time.
If you have
I don't know
yesterday,
how, but she did.
I'll tell you what. If you have yesterday's track, I would feel very confident with 2s and 6s if you have yesterday's
Okay,
track.
the 6 has absolutely no chance in here, but feel free to discuss how you've picked this horse. I mean, this is an incredible pick.
I
by
mean,
you.
hasn't this? She's just gotten better. Hold on a second.
No, she hasn't.
Her
She's
last
ridden-
2 races
She's been with.
put her right in the winner's circle.
No, they don't.
Sure they do.
Anthony, you sat on this show yesterday and gave a dissertation about the biases at this track and betting horses.
Oh,
are
she
based
is
There is
taking
no
absolute
horse
advantage.
possibly-
She's taking absolute advantage of it, but
No. Let me just delineate it. Gold rails, slow paces, gold rails. Can't get the lead. Anthony, I'll be shocked. Maybe she'll beat Call on Mischief.
she's won from off the pace, and she can't just have gotten better.
No,
You don't-
no, she's
no
benefited
shot,
from
she
the
just
racetrack.
got better.
No, she's benefited from the racetrack. Her races speak for themselves. She's benefited from the racetrack. Slow paces, rail biases. Last time she ran a race where the pace completely held together, Risk Model finished second there. She'd be 500-1 in this race.
I just think she's going to sit off a Sadie Lady. I'm not too concerned about what's going to come calling for her. To be honest with you, I'm really not.
Okay.
I'm not
Save
too concerned.
$5 for socks,
I'm not.
because she's got no shot. She's 7-2 in the line?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, my God.
I understand.
I think the
listen,
play in here is to bet supers and box 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. That would be my play.
now you're
I'm
just
not.
being
This one says no
ridiculous.
shot.
How do you say that?
First, because she can't compete with these. She's completely dressed up by the racetrack and by advantageous circumstances in 3 straight races.
Jump
My
for Joy was a
God.
huge scratch for her. Huge scratch for her.
You know what would be a really big scratch for her? If the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 7 came out. She'd be ginger ale if that happened.
See, you're going to look at the morning line, and I mean, how many do you want?
We sat on
awesome
the show last week, and you had a discussion with a horse named Wasp, who went up at 6-5, and I was incredulous that anybody had that horse other than last.
You're going to try.
And she
You're
finished
going to
last.
try and get points out of me here. How much do you want Awesome Debate against Kansas Kiss?
5 lunches.
Done. Even money, 5 lunches?
Oh, absolutely.
Done. Beautiful.
Absolutely.
Wow.
That's the freest money I ever saw. As far as Kansas Kiss, we'll take a look at her race 2 back. I say something about her. You look at the way they've run her. She comes back in late November. She gets 6 weeks off. She comes back, and she runs well here. The problem with her is the only races that really came up for her were mile races. She's not a miler. She's run okay at a mile, but she's really a horse that wants less distance.
She's not a miler.
Her race last year in
True.
the Busher was exceptional when she attacked that wicked pace with a middle move that fell apart and still almost held on to victory. She comes back off the layoff. Now, the Glass Ceiling Center Isle race wasn't great. It wasn't that bad. Then they tried to go a mile. Now, last time out, obviously, she fell apart. But the other thing about her last race is she came back in 3 weeks. Now she comes back over 5 weeks later after the last race and gets more time. Do I love Kansas Kiss? No. Do I think Amuse is probably going to win this race? Yes. Yes, I do. Though I think Prairie Fire at a fair racetrack has a little bit of a chance to get a piece here, and I'll use her as a backup. And obviously, we have yesterday's track. I don't like Prairie Fire. I'll use Sadie Lay to wire the field. But Kansas Kiss, to me, draws well on the rail. She's cutting back. She wants less distance. And she's a horse that has a little bit of upside. There aren't too many upsides in this race. And I think she may be one that has it. In fact, she may be the only one that actually has upside. And I think this horse has been crying for less distance.
Well, she'll get it today. She will get it today.
If nothing else, at least I won 5 lunches on this race. I mean, I almost feel guilty. There are going to be people calling me up, and they're going to be saying, what can I pay you to get one of the lunches in that bet? Where did we get some of those pizzas, by the way, you brought? Was that 2 weeks ago?
Oh, my God. We'll get you pizza, man.
No, I'll pay.
Okay.
Those were great.
I get you pizza next time. I'm not eating any pizza right now.
No, that's right. I don't want to encourage that. Anthony's on a diet. He's losing some weight. I'm not encouraging it.
Maybe for my birthday.
Though my friend Bruce is on a diet, and I did order dessert the other day at lunch and eat it in front of him. He didn't even flinch.
Maybe for my birthday we'll do it.
When's your, March 31st?
Yeah.
That's right.
With Memorial.
Feel like I remember that?
Yeah. We'll do it right after my birthday. Get you some
I'm not here.
Right at that.
But I'm not
Wood
here that
Memorial.
Thursday.
Wood Memorial. We'll do it Wood Memorial Day.
Friday.
Friday's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wood Day? Wood Day's good.
Yeah. You do that.
Okay. Big lunch bet on this race. Race number 10. It's hard to believe there's still one race left after all the fun we're having here.
All the fun. I mean, we have some time too.
Okay. No, enlighten me.
I had a tough time.
You felt bad that you made a big lunch bet against
I
Ray
knew I was
Handel,
going to get you.
and you were set
exactly
up
right.
to suck up to Ray afterwards.
Exactly. I'm using the 1, 4, 5, 8, and 9 in the last race today.
I hear you.
I picked Up for Adventure.
Why not?
Going to be I would imagine, will be the longest price, along with Second Fortune of the 4 horses, the 5 horses I like. Cutting back from the mile first time out, fresh gelding, had enough time between the race and being gelded. I had very little to say about that. I wanted to use half the field, so.
I think skipping and jumping is supposed to get an aggressive ride from Luzzy here and go to the front. I'll show you a stat for Linda Rice. How about this one? First off the claim, maiden claimers on the dirt coming back. She's over 50%. And I just think with Luzzy, just send this horse to the front.
And I'll tell you what.
I think it's Roddy and
with
Linda.
With a dead send, this horse is going to be in front, and you just.
Even on a fair racetrack, you dead send. I wouldn't want to rate this horse. Just
don't
go.
Mess around. Just go.
I mean, yeah, Dangle has some
go.
speed, and the zone has some speed. Just go.
They don't have
just
right
let
on a
the
dead
other guys
send.
get
First
away.
time Linda, they don't have the speed this horse.
This horse is.
You wouldn't imagine they're going to have that speed.
I'm going to disagree with David. This horse will be favored. I know Carlos Martin. I mean, he's got him 3-1 and 7-2. It's not exactly taking a big anti-opinion, but I know Carlos horses get bet. Aren't you a little sick of far? And I'll tell you something about as far as Spirit. He was inside for most of the race last night. So he benefited from the rail. I mean, he moved the 2 path in the turn and 3 in the stretch, but he spent at least half or more of the race on the rail. Yep. So it's not like he had a massive excuse. See, we'll watch the race he comes out of, because Second Fortune, I know you put your form away, but there is more to discuss in this race.
That's all right. I can get it out.
Second Fortune, you need on a fair racetrack, Second Fortune can win. On yesterday's racetrack, Second Fortune probably can't win. This horse ran last time. This was the race where all the horses that rode the rail got nice figures, like Elite and Apex Predator. Whereas Triple Americano, who had the 3-4 wide trip, he came back and equaled his figure with a 70 in the next start. This horse Have maybe a wider trip. Nah, similar. I mean, 2 to 4 wide in the turn. For Americano was probably 4 wide a little longer, moved the 3 path. But certainly, and I gotta tell you something, Second Fortune, out of nowhere, ran last time.
Yep. Lasix today.
I have to pick horses like this at prices.
Lasix
Getting
today.
Lasix, ran wide against the track. Obviously, if we have yesterday's racetrack, this horse is in trouble. But if we have a fair racetrack, this is the, because honestly, Anthony, the 4's the horse to beat. I mean, you pick a horse that may not be able to run. Litterbox, who I don't like at all, he was a bit wide last time, though, so he was against the track. There's no question about it last time. But I will say something about that. That was a race where 4 or 5 went, and the inside speed won. And everybody else sort of fell apart. So his clunking up, yes, he was a bit against the track, but it was also a function of the race
just
falling
backing
apart
up past
behind
him.
the
Yeah, of
winner.
course.
So, yeah,
yeah.
and I'm not a big fan. I'm just not. I love the name.
Yeah, like I said, I want to use half the field. So
Does Litterbox, is that a play on Kitten's Joy, the dam sire?
I would have to imagine.
Is a Litterbox a Kitten's Joy? I thought catnip.
I don't know, man. There's
What,
a cat.
you tired? You worn out? You got to go back to bed?
I mean, you're asking.
You're saying
asking
this in the
these
day where
crazy
you told me it's
questions.
no problem losing an hour's sleep, and
There's
you're like,
no problem losing the hour's sleep.
how are you not invigorated after this intellectual debate that's taken place over the last 45 minutes here?
I'm so overwhelmed.
You bet Miss Lamar at Gulfstream and you're heartbroken?
I'm so overwhelmed.
Really?
Edgar Zayas, big Edgar Zayas fan. Love Edgar Zayas.
What are you doing today? Hanging around?
No, I'm going to Phil.
Give
I'll
my
be here
best to
tomorrow.
Phil.
I'm going to stay tomorrow.
How's
Hang
Phil
out
doing?
tomorrow. Phil's back to work. Phil's doing all right.
Good. Glad to hear it.
Yeah, Phil's ready to enjoy a fine day of racing. We'll have America's Day at the races
Spend a
on.
day with the big A? I mean, that's like,
Imagine having your very own handicapper with you all day long.
well, it's not a question of handicapper. He's your friend.
I meant me having.
have-
I meant me having
Oh,
Phil.
okay. 'Cause I mean, to have a friend like the Big A, you don't need the other friends. Head on over to Naira Bets if you're not a member.
I
Bet
meant Phil.
200 or we'll match. Excuse me, we'll match up to $200 of your initial deposit. Use the promo code match200. Makes sense. They're running in that winner's circle. Sport racing, keep the money in the game. The cross country pick 5 starts at 4:08. All these races will be on America's Day of the Races, which we'll discuss in a moment. Races 8 and 9 here, interspersed with races 7, 8, 9 at Oaklawn. 3 stakes in that sequence, including one name for a horse that rained every time he ran a big grade run. That was Temperance Hill. Also, here's America's Day at the Races. Try to keep up here. We'll start out with an hour on FS1. Then we'll have 3 hours on FS2. Then we'll show the Rebel. We were hoping to show the Rebel on Fox Sports. Fortunately, it didn't fall in our window. But we, because we care about you, will stick around and we'll show it in the Naira YouTube channel, as well as, of course, you can always watch on Naira Bets and the Fox Sports app from 6 to 6:30. The crew will be intact for that.
And if you have a Naira Bets account like you should, Derby Bankroll Builder, bet at least 50 to win on a horse in the Rebel today. Win or lose, $20 goes into your account on Thursday, April 29th, just in time for Kentucky Oaks and Kentucky Derby weekend. 5 races, Rebel today, Louisiana Derby next Saturday, Florida Derby March 27th, Hourwood Memorial on April 3rd, and the Arkansas Derby on April 10th.
And who is your Rebel pick?
I like Keep Me in Mind.
As usual, I completely disagree with Anthony. Actually, we should make a lunch bet on this. I like the Asmussen horse, though you actually kind of like him too.
I do too.
Yeah, no, that's fair. What's his name again?
Big
Big Hit or something? Big something?
Big Stick, maybe?
Big Kahuna? It's not Big Stick.
Big Kahuna. Yeah, the Big Kahuna. Yeah, well, Happy Days.
There's a movie with the Big Kahuna.
Was the Big Kahuna
Big
Happy
Lake.
Days?
And the
Big
second
Lake.
day in a row, Maggie had to text me to remind me Big Lake's name.
Big Lake.
She's used to working with somebody who can't. I can remember things from when I slipped out of the womb. I can remember what the attending nurse was speaking about.
So
but I
Pete
can't
says to me
remember
all the time, he goes,
horses.
you remember who won the Belmont in 1997? But
I sat here with Anthony and
Touchdown.
read the 20 horses or whatever the field was in the 1993 Derby, and Anthony named the trainer of all but 2 of them. And let me tell you, it wasn't all trainers.
I think
you've heard of.
there was like
That
you
was
threw,
the
you
most
threw a Wayne
impressive thing I
Catalano
ever
crypto
saw.
star at me at one point.
Wayne
You tried to get
Catalano.
me
Wayne
good.
Catalano was like the most. There were guys in there I'd never heard of, and you knew they were. It's unbelievable. Anyhow, it's been fun. Got 10 races today. A lot of good action. Johnny I up next with the reprise, the scratches and changes.
Hello, racing fans, and once again, welcome to Aqueduct.